Hello, and welcome to the annual Information Security Awareness Training. Periodic Information Security Awareness Training gives all of us a chance to reinforce the fundamentals of information security and increase our awareness of information security policies and compliance.
Information security is a shared interest. Things you do to protect institutional data may very well help to protect your personal data as well. The purpose of this training is to inform staff of information security measures that must be taken in compliance with University and Office of Information Security policies, as well as federal, state, and regulatory requirements.
Everyone is responsible for security. The Office of Information Security establishes policies, guidelines, and standards for information security's best practices at the university. OIS also provides security consultation for new or altered projects, security assessments, and oversight. The service and IT resource owners who have access to or are responsible for IT resources must comply with university policies, standards, and guidelines to ensure data confidentiality, integrity, and availability. They must incorporate information security's best practices into their resources and workflows. The everyday users are responsible for complying with university policies, standards, and guidelines, and utilizing information security best practices.
What is confidentiality, integrity, and availability? Well, the CIA triad is a widely used information security model that can guide an organization's efforts and policies aimed at keeping its data secure. Confidentiality means that only authorized users and processes should be able to access or modify data. Integrity means data should be maintained in a correct state and that no one should be able to improperly modify it, either accidentally or maliciously. Availability means authorized users should be able to access data whenever they need to do so.
At the university, we also have to comply with laws, regulations, guidelines, and specifications relevant to its business. Some examples of these are HIPAA, which protects personally identifiable health information, PCI, which protects credit card and processing information, FERPA, which protects student records and grades, GLB or GLBA protects financial information.
In order to maintain the security of the university and follow the CIA framework, OIS has created policies based on best practices that must be followed at the university. These are only brief overviews of the policies, and we encourage you to read through these policies on your own. You can find these policies on our website at www.uc.edu/infosec/policies.
Data governance and classification policy. This policy details how to classify and protect university data from unauthorized access, damage, alteration, or disclosure while still allowing authorized users to access and use institutional data for university-approved purposes.
There are 4 different types of data that the university uses in classification: export-controlled, restricted, controlled, and public data. Export-controlled data is sensitive data, equipment, software, and technology that is related to the U.S. government. Highest levels of safeguards per OIS and the Office of Export Controls must be in place. Examples include any information labeled export-controlled, ITAR USML category, EAR CCL ECCN, or any other DoD distribution statement.
Restricted data is data that, if disclosed, altered, or destroyed without authorization, could cause a significant level risk to the university or its affiliates. High levels of security safeguards must be applied. Examples of restricted data may include Social Security numbers or partial Social Security numbers, legal information, and donor information.
According to the minimum safeguards in place, restricted data must be encrypted if stored or used on portable devices, removed from a secure university location, or electronically transmitted, never be stored on non-university owned or operated devices, or not be stored or used by an external service provider or agent without a contract that provides appropriate protection to the same standards that are applied at the university.
Additionally, laptop computers or servers storing restricted data must utilize full disk encryption. Internal forms should be revised to remove unnecessary references to data. Paper copies of all restricted data should be stored in locked filing cabinets and shredded when discarded. All users must only use the university cloud-based file storage for restricted and controlled data. OneDrive is the university's approved cloud-based file storage option. Controlled data is data that, if disclosed, altered, or destroyed without authorization, could result in a moderate level of risk to the university or its affiliates. All institutional data not explicitly classified must be treated as controlled data. A reasonable level of security safeguards must be applied. Examples of controlled data include faculty and staff reviews, performance evaluations, student grades, or student enrollment status. All users must use only university-approved cloud-based file storage for restricted and controlled data. OneDrive is the university's only approved option. Public data is data that is readily available to the public and requires no additional protection. Refer to this policy and its associated minimum safeguards and other related documents for further details on proper protection of data types. Acceptable use of information technology policy. This policy defines and promotes the responsible use of technology at the university. Users of IT resources must meet certain expectations and responsibilities in order to continue use of said resources. Individuals that access university services and accept any university-issued computing accounts agree to comply with this and all other related policies.
Privileged access policy. Privileged access is a level of user permissions that allow a user to take actions that may affect computer systems, network communication, or the accounts, files, data, or processes of other users. Proper controls are required to reduce the increased risk. Some of these controls include using individual accounts with unique usernames and passwords that comply with the university's password policy, which is described later, limiting user access so that users only have access to and knowledge of the data they need to accomplish their job function. Following the plans of separation and rotation of duties. This means that roles and responsibilities should be separated for a high-risk business process across multiple people. Also, tasks should be rotated periodically so users have a hard time colluding together to engage in fraudulent behavior. And requiring users' desktop and/or laptop computers to be university-owned and managed by university-controlled endpoint protection services. We currently use McAfee Endpoint Security as our endpoint protection service. Privileged access users must familiarize themselves with this policy and take necessary precautions to protect the confidentiality and integrity of information encountered in the performance of their duties.
Vulnerable electronic systems policy. All university-owned or operated computer systems and devices must be protected through the use and installation of software patches, service packs, or hot fixes. We here at OIS also run vulnerability scans on a regular and ongoing basis to detect present and potential future vulnerabilities that are of the highest concern to the industry. These scan the entire university infrastructure, and upon detection, vulnerabilities are classified by severity and are reported to the system device owner or site IT coordinator. OIS has the right to remove any device or system from the network that is compromised and posing a risk to the university.
When detected, vulnerabilities must be remediated within a certain time frame or risk being removed from the network. When vulnerabilities are reported to the owner or IT coordinator, details about fixing the vulnerabilities are included. Catastrophic vulnerabilities must be resolved within 30 days of notification. Vulnerabilities are scanned and tested in 30-day increments to check for new vulnerabilities or remediation of pre-existing vulnerabilities. If catastrophic vulnerabilities are still active 30 days after the initial notification, the owner or IT coordinator is sent a reminder. If catastrophic vulnerabilities are still active 60 days after the initial notification, the owner or IT coordinator is sent a second reminder. After 90 days, systems with catastrophic vulnerabilities that still show the vulnerabilities as active will be escalated to the organization's administrative head. After 120 days, systems with catastrophic vulnerabilities that continue to show the vulnerabilities as active will be escalated to the organization's chair. If systems with catastrophic vulnerabilities are not remediated by 180 days after the initial notification, the systems will be disconnected from the network until satisfactory remediation occurs.
Risk acceptance policy. If any information risk cannot be avoided or remediated, it must be documented in a risk acceptance form, also known as a RAF, by the owning department and approved by the business owner, such as the dean, vice president, or a designee. The RAF must then be set to OIS for review and approval or denial.
Information Security Review Policy. Information security reviews are required whenever new IT services or equipment are required or when significant changes are made to existing systems, infrastructure, or services. Some examples of when these reviews are required include application of new systems or services or significant changes to existing services or systems that may store or transmit export-controlled or restricted data, implementation of new critical infrastructure or significant changes to existing critical infrastructure, addition of new enterprise systems or significant changes to existing enterprise systems, implementation of new systems or significant changes to existing systems that permit third-party access to university systems or data, or application of cloud services for the storing or processing of restricted or controlled data. Any significant project must have a security review incorporated in the project plan at the beginning. OIS needs to be involved throughout the project as needed prior to implementation. These reviews are needed to identify and document unmitigated risks that may exist on university information systems or other IT solutions. They also provide recommendations to mitigate the identified risk. Information security reviews, as well as the recommended security controls, work to improve the university's security. Failure to comply with security requirements or to contact OIS can result in termination or suspension of project or service. Infrastructure, Platform, and Software as a Service Policy. This policy covers the use of IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS when the services become an extension of the university network. What is IaaS? IaaS stands for Infrastructure as a Service. These are solutions that provide services such as storage, virtual server hosting, networking, or other infrastructure components via the Internet. It offers advantages such as scalability based on resource demands. What is PaaS? PaaS, or Platform as a Service, are solutions that allow customers to develop, run, and manage applications without building or maintaining infrastructure. It provides methods of service integration such as databases and file storage without having to deal with low-level requirements. If a university department needs IaaS or PaaS services, they must use vendors that have been vetted and contracted by the university. What is SaaS? SaaS, also known as Software as a Service, is a software licensing and delivery model where software is licensed to the university and is hosted by the vendor. Typically, the university accesses the application via a web browser. Purchases of SaaS services require a security review prior to implementation. Failure to adequately plan for the security review will result in delay or termination of the project. Faculty, staff, and affiliates are not permitted to enter into IaaS or PaaS contracts for storage, manipulation, or exchange of university data.
Information Security Incident Management and Response Policy. This policy applies to information security events and incidents that affect any university information asset or system. It also provides direction when determining the response to the misuse of university IT resources from in and outside of the university. Faculty, staff, students, visitors, and affiliates must report information security events and incidents to OIS immediately upon discovery, regardless of the time or day or whether the university is open or closed. This includes all suspected information security events or incidents impacting the CIA of university data, suspected or actual security breaches of restricted information as defined in the Data Governance and Classification Policy, abnormal, systematic, unsuccessful attempts to compromise restricted data, are suspected or actual weaknesses in the safeguards protecting information or availability of information. OIS is the only university department authorized to conduct digital investigations. Password policy. This policy ensures that all university employees, including affiliates and vendors with access to university systems, take responsibility for using appropriate means for establishing positive identification when accessing university systems. Passwords must be protected and must not be shared. Systems with restricted data must have two-factor authentication or 2FA in place. Passwords must meet the following criteria. Passwords must contain at least 8 uppercase and lowercase letters and numeric characters. Some software regulations or contractual obligations may require stricter password requirements. If applicable, these requirements must be applied to retain compliance. For example, to meet PCI or payment card industry standards, a service must expire by no later than 90 days. Default passwords must be changed immediately. Passwords must expire by no later than 180 days from creation. All passwords must be encrypted and are hashed during transit and when stored. Electronic mail policy. All university business must be conducted using assigned university email accounts. The use of personal or non-university assigned email accounts to conduct university business is prohibited. Student workers that do not receive or transmit restricted data via email may use their UC student email account. Per the Data Governance and Classification Policy, restricted data such as SSN, electronic protected health information, account information, and credit card numbers, etc., must be encrypted if sent via email. Official university email resources are provided centrally. The use or deployment of additional email services, such as creating or hosting of an email server with university resources to represent the university, is prohibited. Data Center Visitor Policy. This policy establishes the required physical security measures regarding visitors at university data center facilities. All visitors must sign the logbook at the entrance of the university data center. These logbooks must be retained by the data center for a period of 3 years. The data center must have authorized staff members physically present and escort and monitor the visitors in the data center for the entire visit. Authorized staff must be aware that any physical contact to the computer systems and their components by unauthorized individuals, regardless of university standing, is strictly prohibited. There must be a 1:5 ratio of staff members to visitors at the time of the visit. The taking of pictures, videos, or recording of data is strictly prohibited. To be eligible for data center entry, visitors must be citizens of the U.S. or permanent green card holders. Non-immigrant foreign nationals are not permitted for entry for any reason. Clean desk policy. This policy ensures that all sensitive and confidential data, whether paper, storage device, or otherwise, is locked away or disposed of when workstation is not in use. Workstations must be locked when not in use. Mobile devices must be locked with locking cables or away in a drawer when not in use. Password or any university-related authentication information must not be posted on notes or left accessible. Documents and storage devices with restricted or controlled data must be encrypted and locked when not in use. OIS representatives may conduct random audits to enforce this policy. Please be sure to review all of these policies at uc.edu/infosec/policies for more details. Finally, make sure that you follow these best practices. Never share your passwords with anyone nor write them down. Consider using passwords that are at least 15 characters or passphrases, such as these are more difficult to track. Use two-factor authentication, such as Duo, whenever possible. Unexpected emails that have you click on links, open attachments, or disclose sensitive information could cause serious harm. Do not click links, open attachments, or reveal personal information. If you receive any of these emails, report them to abuse@uc.edu ASAP. Never work with sensitive or personal data over an unsecured or open wireless network. Connect to the university VPN when you need to access sensitive or personal data. Do not disable the security tools such as antivirus or disk encryption installed on your computer. Avoid surfing questionable or suspicious websites and only use trusted and reliable websites. Regularly check and install any security patches that have been released to properly protect your computers and other devices from attackers. OneDrive is the only university-approved cloud storage option for faculty, staff, students, and affiliates. If you need to use cloud storage, it is strongly recommended that you only use OneDrive.
Information security breaches are serious, expensive, and can cause lifelong impacts on victims and institutions. Security is everyone's responsibility. We're here to help.
If you have questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to us at OIS. You can contact us at 513-558-4732 or at our website, uc.edu/infosec. For general inquiries, please email us at infosec@uc.edu. And any investigations or suspicious emails, please send to abuse@uc.edu.
Follow us on social media for facts, tips, and other cybersecurity information. Visit us on Twitter and Instagram via UC_OIS and at Facebook UCIT OIS.
Thank you and have a great day. Go Bearcats!